Hello, my name is Anneke, and I am a personal effectiveness coach. I support young professionals to get more clarity on what they want, where they want to go, and how to get there, using my own power of choice method. Now, personal effectiveness to me is all about living from the heart. When we take decisions, when we set goals that are based on a true heartfelt desire, we're naturally drawn towards these goals. We automatically put energy in it. And most likely, we already get a lot of energy just from working on it, not just from achieving these goals. Now, when we follow our deepest desires, our deepest longings, this can be scary. It's very likely that the fear of failure comes up. But when we allow this fear of failure to take over, we give our power away. On the other hand, if we follow our heart, we not only increase our effectiveness, we also increase our impact, and we feel much more happy doing it. In the past couple of years, I have supported over 200 young professionals, from starting architects to PhD students. And typically, they are very intelligent and highly ambitious individuals who have their life on track, but somehow, somewhere, they got stuck on the way. And if I look at the questions that they come to me with, there's a range from, on the one hand, single dilemmas, like Max, for example. He wanted to go freelancing and quit his job, but at the last moment, he got doubts whether this really was the right decision for him. So he called me, and we looked at what got in the way of his decision. We discovered that it was his loyalty, and with that, a sense of guilt towards his employer. He decided that was not the right reason to stay, so he took the jump and went freelancing, and he reported back to me that he was really happy that he took this decision. On the other hand of the range are young professionals who have a more general feeling of being overwhelmed. They lost their inner compass, their inner knowing of knowing what is right for them and what is not right. With these young professionals, I take a more intensive approach. We do multiple sessions, and here, for example, I think of Anja. She came to me when she was in a relationship crisis, and she wasn't happy at her job. She had a university degree, but worked at a post office, and she didn't get any fulfillment from her job. So firstly, I supported her to reconnect to what she really wanted, to her heart. And then we laid a foundation for her to take powerful choices for herself, now and in the future. Now, both the ones who came with a single dilemma and the ones who came with a more general feeling of overwhelmed, they report back to me that after working together, they felt more clarity and more peace of mind, because they didn't overthink all their decisions anymore. They just felt what was right for them. And on top of that, they felt more self-confident and a general feeling of being more happy, more energized, and basically more alive. And this reminds me of one of my favorite quotes by Howard Thurman. He said, "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive." Now, I have to say, I feel very alive at this moment of time in my life. I found my mission and my passion in supporting others, and I feel grateful and happy to be doing that every single day. But 6 years ago, when I was 30, I was in a different place. I thought I had it all figured out. I had a nice boyfriend, we bought a house together, I had a steady job, and it looked great on paper. From the inside, I felt restless. I was continuously looking for more faraway travels, more going out with friends, more clothes, more money. And none of that really made me happy. None of that really fulfilled me. Because two important things in my life were not in line with what I really wanted. In my relationship, we never fought, we hardly ever argued, but we also didn't have any explosions of happiness. It was just a flat line. And it made me feel flat and numb in that relationship. At work, I noticed that more and more of my projects ended up on shelves or in drawers. And there's nothing more frustrating to me than doing work for nothing. I felt like I wasn't contributing anymore. I was wasting my time, wasting my energy. So I got to the point where I felt like, hey, this can't go on like this much longer. And this started quite a turbulent time in my life, because I knew I had to change, but taking these decisions to quit my job and end my relationship were the two most scariest things I could imagine. I knew I had to do something, so I did it anyway, and I started by ending my relationship. I did that quite quickly, actually, and afterwards, all the doubts came. Was this really the right decision? Shouldn't I have worked on it? And I got some help from a coach, and I got settled in a different city. And meanwhile, I thought, let's not throw my whole life upside down at once. So I kept my job. And I kept working there, and I kept working there, and I kept working there. Until one day my body said stop, and I got into a burnout. It glued me to my couch for 6 months. And after those 6 months, I really knew I didn't want to go back to that job. I didn't know what else, but I knew I didn't want to go back. So I quit. And that was the best decision I could take. I felt this humongous weight lift off my shoulders, and the feeling of freedom and of strength came back in its place. And now, today, I'm not only doing the job that I love, but in the meantime, I also met the love of my life, Ike, who supports me every step of the way, and we got married almost a year ago. Now, maybe you wonder how I got from knowing I had to take the decision to actually taking these decisions. Apart from a bit of courage, which I really needed, I also got a lot of help on the way. I worked with multiple coaches, I followed several programs, I did meditation and yoga, and all of that had its contribution. But if I look back at what really worked for me, I come to 3 steps. The first one was to acknowledge what had got me in this place, what didn't work for me. The second one was to connect to my desires, to get clarity on what I really wanted. And the third one was to consciously choose for those behaviors and those goals that were in line with these desires. And then I started supporting others in this process. I started with the ones who also were standing in front of a life-changing decision like I had to take. And soon I discovered it doesn't only work for those big decisions, it also works for the smaller day-to-day decisions. Actually, I still use it often. When a new job opportunity or work opportunity comes up and I don't have a clear yes or no right away, I ask myself, okay, why am I in doubt? What's in the way? What do I really want? And then I take a conscious decision. Now, it sounds like 3 easy steps, right? Acknowledge, desire, choose. 3 words, but from my experience, it's not easy to do that on your own. I got a lot of help. So, if you work with me, I will guide you through this process. I use a series of tools and techniques that really support you to get that clarity, to connect to your heart, and to take the decisions. Now, sometimes people tell me, I don't really have time for a whole process, right? I'm very busy. And to those people I ask, when do you have the time? Because if you feel stuck or overwhelmed, and this is bothering you, then it will take some time and effort to get through it. You may also wonder, I've already done so much on personal effectiveness. I've done setting goals, making plannings. How do I know this will work for me? Well, what I know is that this is more profound. Working on time management skills or planning is very useful, but only after you have clarity on what you want and where you want to go. So, if any of this resonates with you, I'd be more than happy to talk to you. I offer free coffee sessions in which we can explore if I'm the right person to support you. And I also organize a workshop called Living from My Desires, in which I take you through a step-by-step process to connect to your desires and live from them. Thank you for your attention.